Climate change.
Climate
Changes.
This is causing flooding that's collapsing some bridges in Pakistan.
Welcome to the channel. Today we will be talking about the climate change and how it will be affecting the world. Before we begin, please like and subscribe to our channel.
Permaculture Life brought to you by the Shah Pirali Law Group PC, a law firm dedicated to helping immigrants and the environment. Visit us at pralilaw.com.
Significant, protracted changes in the world's climate are referred to as climate change. The sun, earth, oceans, wind, rain, snow, forests, deserts, savannas, and human activity all contribute to the overall climate of the world. For example, New York's climate can be characterized by its annual temperature variations, rainfall, and other factors. The global climate, however, goes beyond the average of the climates in particular locations. The climate system. A description of the global climate highlights, for instance, how the warming Pacific Ocean fuels typhoons, which blow harder, drop more rain, and cause more damage. It also highlights how shifting global ocean currents melt Antarctic ice, which causes sea levels to rise gradually until New York is submerged. This systemic interconnectedness is what makes global climate change both crucial and challenging. Because a greater proportion of the energy, heat, striking the globe from the sun is being trapped in the atmosphere and not radiating out into space, global warming is the gradual rise in the average temperature of the world's atmosphere. The globe has always had temperatures that allowed the birth of living forms as we know them, including humans. This is because the Earth's atmosphere acts as a greenhouse to trap the sun's heat. The Earth would be quite chilly without the greenhouse effect of our atmosphere. However, global warming is comparable to a greenhouse with high-efficiency reflecting glass built in the incorrect orientation. Ironically, the worst cooling episode that occurred around 1,500 years ago may be the finest source of evidence for this. A year apart, two enormous volcanic eruptions produced so much black dust in the upper sky that little sunlight could reach the ground. Temperatures fell dramatically. Failures occurred in the crops. As the Black Death began to spread, many perished from famine. The sun could once more warm the world as the dust gradually descended to Earth, and things resumed as usual. Today, we face the exact opposite issue. The issue now is not that too little sunlight reaches the planet, rather, it is that too much of it is being trapped in our atmosphere. The Earth is retaining so much heat inside its greenhouse effect that its temperature is rising more quickly than it ever has. An outstanding educational resource on the science of global warming is provided by NASA. Heat is energy, and every system will alter when you add energy to it. The global climate changes as a result of the addition of heat energy since every system in the system is interconnected. The ocean, which covers a large portion of the Earth, heats up. More water evaporation into clouds occurs as the ocean heats up. Where hurricanes and typhoons form, more energy-intensive storms are the end outcome. The polar ice cap, the enormous ice shield protruding off of Antarctica, glaciers and mountain snowpacks, all of which melt as a result of a warmer atmosphere, contribute to rising sea levels. Changes in temperature affect the major wind patterns that bring the monsoons to Asia and rain and snow to other parts of the world, increasing the frequency of drought and unpredictable weather. For this reason, scientists are now more interested in the broader subject of climate change rather than just global warming. What causes global warming? There are three perspectives on global warming: those who believe that neither global warming nor climate change are happening, those who believe that both are happening but that they are simply natural, cyclical events unrelated to human activity, and those who believe that both are happening primarily as a result of human activity. The argument that the observed global warming is natural or at least unrelated to human carbon emissions focuses on evidence that historical global temperatures and atmospheric CO2 concentrations have been at least as high. Additionally, they emphasize how solar activity affects how much radiation hits the Earth and how recently the sun has been very active, both of which are widely known impacts. They also point out that, in comparison to other stars, the sun is really fairly stable, with variations in energy production of just 0.1% over a brief period of 11 to 50 years that are unrelated to overall global warming. The evidence strongly implies that solar activity has numerous significant effects on the world's climate, but that it plays no role in the long-term, systemic change that we refer to as global warming. Particularly, the sun's energy is trapped in the atmosphere by gases that are largely emitted through the burning of fossil fuels and by the small particles that result from incomplete combustion. Because they behave incorrectly, reflective glass in our global greenhouse, scientists refer to these gases as greenhouse gases. The small particles are known as black carbon by scientists. You may know them as soot or smoke, and they are thought to have a warming effect because the ensuing layer of black particles in the lower atmosphere absorbs heat like a black blanket. The beginning of the current warming trend is dated by scientists to the end of the 18th or the start of the 19th century, when coal first became widely used. Our greater reliance on fossil fuels, such as gasoline, diesel, kerosene, and natural gas, as well as the petrochemicals, plastics, drugs, and fertilizers we currently produce from oil, has caused this warming trend to accelerate. Fossil fuel consumption, which releases carbon that was stored in the atmosphere for millions of years, is thought to be the source of the present warming trend, according to scientists. Scientists have determined that what is heating our Earth and causing global warming is the addition of this ancient carbon to the world's existing store of carbon. What evidence do we have of climate change? Long-term data tying atmospheric CO2 levels to global temperature, sea level, the extent of ice, fossil record, and species distribution are the most convincing examples of climate change evidence available to scientists. There is a significant association between CO2 levels and temperature in this data, which spans millions of years. The early 19th century marks the beginning of a trend of growing CO2 levels and rising temperature, according to recent statistics. What impacts does climate change have? The effects of climate change are felt everywhere since it affects the entire world's climatic system. Here are some of the most significant effects of climate change. Rising sea levels. Rising sea levels are a result of climate change. In the last 100 years, sea level worldwide increased by around 8 inches on average. According to climate scientists, this rise will continue and accelerate over the following 100 years due to the effects of climate change. New York and other coastal cities are already experiencing a rise in flooding incidents, and by 2050, several of these cities may need seawalls to survive. Numerous small Pacific Island states, Vanuatu, well-known beach resorts, and coastal cities are likely to be submerged by sea levels that are conservatively predicted to rise by 1 to 4 feet, Bangkok, Boston. Sea levels might increase by as much as 20 feet if the Antarctic ice shelf and the Greenland ice cap both melt, flooding areas like Houston, New Orleans, and major portions of Florida. According to projections, the world's glaciers, the polar ice cap, and the enormous Antarctic ice shelf will all have vanished within the next 100 years, if not sooner. Greenland may also turn green again, and snow will no longer be a common occurrence at the ski resorts that are currently the most well-known in the world. Even while the precise factors that cause rainfall won't alter, climate change has an impact on the amount of water in the atmosphere and will cause an increase in the frequency of intense downpours rather than light showers. Flooding will happen more frequently, and hurricanes and typhoons will get stronger. Anyone in the United States who has attempted to purchase flood or storm insurance in the recent years is aware that the insurance industry is adamant that climate change is raising sea levels and increasing the frequency of significant storms and floods. That's end for today's video. What do you recommend us to make video on? Let us know in the comments below. And make sure to like and subscribe to our channel for more future updates.